Hello, my name is Andrew Allmark. I'm a sergeant with the North Carolina Highway Patrol assigned to the Firearms Training Division. Today we're going to be going over safe storage for all firearms and ammunition. Let's go over the 4 cardinal rules of safe gun handling. The first rule is to treat every weapon as if it were loaded until you have personally inspected it. Never hand over a loaded weapon and never assume a weapon is unloaded when being handed to you. Rule number 2, always keep your muzzle pointed in a safe direction. The muzzle should never point at yourself or anybody else. The third safety rule is to keep your finger straight and off the trigger, high on the frame, and outside the trigger guard at all times. Your fourth cardinal rule is to be sure of your target and what lies beyond and around it. Next, we're going to go over the safe unloading of several different types of firearms to include revolvers and semi-automatic pistols. With this revolver, the thumb latch has to be pressed forward. Once it's pressed forward, again with your offhand and your 2 fingers, you're going to rotate the cylinder out, rotate the pistol so the barrel is pointed up. You're going to hit the ejector rod. If there were rounds in there, they would fall out. And then we're going to go forward with our visual and physical check. We're going to rotate that cylinder and ensure each one of those 6 chambers is empty. Once you have visually and physically cleared it, rotate the cylinder back in, and the pistol has now been cleared. The next weapon we're going to go over is a semi-automatic pistol with a manual safety. If I pick up the firearm and the safety is disengaged, my first step is to engage the safety. Second step is to hit the magazine release button to eject that magazine out of the magazine well. Next, I will rack the slide in a safe direction, keeping my finger straight and off the trigger, outside of the trigger guard. And if there was a round, it would eject out of that chamber. I'm going to rack it several more times, and then using my slide catch, I'm going to press the slide to the rear and press up on my slide catch to capture the slide to the rear. And then I do my visual and physical check of the firearm. I'm looking to make sure I don't see the back end of a round stuck in the chamber, and then I'm looking into the magazine well itself to make sure a magazine is not inserted. Then I will do my physical check. I will touch the back of the chamber, it's clear, and I'm going to insert my finger into the magazine well, no magazine inserted. It has been visually and physically checked. Now I will use that slide catch or slide release to send that slide forward, ensuring the safety is on. That weapon has now been cleared. Securing your revolver. Again, I want to do my visual and physical check. I slide the latch forward, rotate the cylinder out, point the barrel up, and press on the ejector rod. No rounds inserted. I visually and physically check each chamber, also empty. The next step is I retrieve my cable lock, and I simply slide the cable lock through one of those chambers, comes out the other side. Press it back into the lock, rotate the keys out. That's properly secured. Now that chamber cannot go back into the breech face, and that firearm is secured. And last step, I ensure that I place those keys in a safe place. Next, we're going to talk about properly securing your semi-automatic pistol. Again, we're going to ensure that our weapon is unloaded, no rounds in the chamber. I'm going to do that visual and physical check. No magazine inserted, no round in the chamber. And then I'm going to retrieve my cable lock. S.A.F.E has been distributing these cable locks. It's one of the easiest ways to secure your firearm. So I pick up my semi-automatic weapon, and I run that cable lock through the magazine well and out the ejection port. I run that lock all the way around, insert it back into the locking system, rotate my key, Now that lock or cable lock is secured, running through the magazine well. A magazine cannot be inserted. A round cannot go into the chamber while that lock is in place. And last step is I always make sure that the keys are properly secured in a safe place. Don't assume that a child will not know how to fire or operate a handgun. They may not be able to differentiate between a gun, a real gun, and a toy gun. So why do children tend to shoot themselves in the face, especially accidental shootings? Think about a child, think about a child's hands. Their strongest digits are their thumbs. So they may not be able to manipulate that trigger with a trigger finger, but if they rotate the pistol around and utilize their strongest digits, which is their thumbs, the barrel tends to point directly back at that child, especially towards their face. So that can be demonstrated by this, and that round goes off, and then you have an incident at home with your child. So that is the importance of securing your firearm, using the cable locks, storing it safely, keeping the ammunition stored separately, and ensuring that firearm never comes into the possession of a child, and protecting those minors in the household. Seek out a certified firearms instructor, go to ranges, learn how to use it, how to properly store it. Safety is paramount, and you are responsible for every round that leaves your chamber.